that contravenes its own bylaws.
It's got a classic 1930s facade, a renovation done more than 70 years ago. But the residents around this grand old place in Miriam Street, Holland Park West, believe the history goes much further back, perhaps another 40 years.
How important is it to the street and the street's character to maintain this house here?
Well, with the way heritage is going, it is an asset to the street.
The outlook is about to change for the worse, though, because the City Council has approved a development application on the site done before the current council was sworn in. But under council bylaws, a house built before 1900 has to stay, so residents set about proving its age.
There's every likelihood that it could have been built prior to 1900. Yeah.
Ron Baker is an architect and also used to work in the council's heritage unit. He says the exterior is certainly around the 1930s, but when he took a look at the core, it really showed its age.
You can't really tie it down to a particular date, but certainly just prior to the turn of the century or just after the turn of the century, that style didn't change much.
The residents found out the land was purchased by a William Cowell in 1895.
He is a painter and a builder by the records, and he had mail delivered here at 1899. That puts him to have built a dwelling here pre-1900.
Grant Stone has lived next door for 4 years and says the house should get a stay of execution as being part of a demolition control precinct, where 3 properties in a row date back before 1946, which includes the old church on the other side of his property. A petition to save the house has been doing the rounds, and the name on the very top is Campbell Newman, the new Lord Mayor.
We believe that there's some significant issues with the development application where council has suggested that it complies with the town plan, and we don't believe it does, and also very concerned that this has been approved when council was effectively in caretaker mode.
Shane Bowering from Red Tape Busters has also been giving the residents a hand, but the decision to approve the application is an interesting one, where not 200 metres up the road, a house of a similar age has been ordered to be salvaged even after sustaining fire damage a few months ago, which left that homeowner puzzled by the double standards.
They're certainly not allowing us to protect this house using the same rules that protect my house, and I think that's wrong.
Shane says it should be up to the council to prove the house isn't as old as the residents think. If the onus does fall back on council to disprove the evidence the locals here have uncovered, they reckon that should be more than enough to save the house. Now they hope Lord Mayor Campbell Newman will continue his support. All they can do is wait to find out can do.
Unfortunately, what has happened was they approved it in caretaker mode when after the election, before Campbell Newman as Lord Mayor actually had his feet under the desk and sworn in, before any of the new council was sworn in, they've approved this application, and that's quite wrong.
Councillor Carol Cashman believes the approval is now legally binding, and the only avenue the residents have is for the Lord Mayor to appeal to the applicant personally, which he did, without success.
The Lord Mayor has contacted the applicant himself with a view to negotiating a better outcome for the residents. But unfortunately, the applicant has simply refused to meet with the Lord Mayor.
Red Tape Busters are now hoping the state government will step in before this 100-year-old lady sadly ends her days.
This place, out of all of them, should be saved, and if it can't be saved, none of them will.
Rob Hazel there. You're watching X.